I never said a single word about homosexuality in the Gospels. Not one.
Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount talks about porneia. He talks about sexual impurity, which is a reference to the porneia code in Leviticus 18. And if that's not what he's doing, we've got a huge problem, because Leviticus 18 also talks about incest, and we get some bestiality in there and some other stuff in there. So if our new Christian ethic is only if Jesus talked about it specifically, then homosexuality is the least of our problems. You can't divorce him from the rest of the Bible. Dear friend, Jesus is a member of the Godhead. Jesus has existed eternally in perfect union with the Father and the Spirit, which means when rocks of fire and brimstone were coming down on Sodom and Gomorrah, he was not absent, nor was he in disagreement. He is a member of the Godhead. Tell the truth. When people bring that up to you, you don't think about that. We don't think about the fact that Jesus is a member of the Godhead. He's a member of the Trinity. And as such, you can't divorce him from the God on the left side of the book, because he is the God on the left side of the book.
So why didn't Jesus specifically and directly address the issue of homosexuality? Well, there was no need to, not in first century Palestine. Do you know how many homosexuals there were in first century Palestine? 0. Jesus came to address what the first century Jews, not Gentiles, but Jews, were getting wrong in the law. For example, these Jews said the law says don't kill, so as long as I don't kill that guy I hate, I'm keeping the law. Jesus said, no, if you hate him, you've already broken the law in your heart. The Jews said that as long as they didn't sleep with a woman, they had not broken the commandment, do not commit adultery. The Jews thought that as long as they obeyed the dietary laws, they could say whatever words they wanted. In other words, it mattered more what you put into your mouth than what came out of your mouth. Jesus said, no, it's the reverse of that. It's what comes out of your mouth that is more important than what goes into it. But on the issue of homosexuality, the Jews had that one down perfect. They neither thought about it or committed it. In fact, the Jewish word for homosexuality was toivah, which means that which should not be mentioned. That's how adverse they were to the sin of homosexuality. So that's why Jesus didn't address it directly, because there was no need to do so with a first century Jewish audience. But a first century Gentile audience, that was a different story, which is why Jesus' apostles, whom he sent to a Gentile audience, addressed it specifically and directly.